The Drew Mariani Show on Relevant Radio.
All right, it's now 26 minutes before the top of the hour. Thank you so much for praying with me in that last half hour. Tell others, too, if you enjoy the broadcast here, the issues I cover, but especially if you enjoy that prayer, it is a powerhouse. I really do believe that prayers are answered in a special way, and I want to thank everyone who's been writing to me, sharing the answered prayers that have come as a result of our unit of prayer. Just send me an email, drew@relevantradio.com. That's the email for the show, drew@relevantradio.com. Send me your petition. Send me your answered prayer. Tell me how God has answered your prayer. I'd love to share that with others. Of course, as I often say, helps strengthen my own faith as well, helps to edify me. So I'm grateful for it. We got a lot to talk about today. We'll talk about finding a new Earth-like planet. We'll take a look at the Iran negotiations and that nuclear deal. And I want to touch on another issue right now. We've talked a lot about Planned Parenthood. You know, we've already addressed that, how they make money off of unborn children that they kill. The way the church views children is a lot different. We believe, as Catholics, as followers of Christ, that all children are created in the image and the likeness of God. And that life is a gift given uniquely by God. Sometimes, of course, a child will die naturally in the womb through miscarriage or perhaps a stillbirth. And, of course, it's incredibly painful for the parents who have to go through that. And for those who've gone through that, it can also cause, I think, a lot of heartache. It can be a very lonely form of suffering, especially since for most people the child's body is lost as medical tissue or it's simply carted away for disposal. And what a lot of people don't realize is that that child can be buried. The Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in La Crosse, there is this beautiful memorial to the unborn. If you ever get a chance, I think it's one of the most beautiful shrines in the country. I love Our Lady of Good Help. But in terms of the majesty, the beauty, the art of this particular place, the walking trails, this shrine to this memorial to the unborn, powerful stuff. They have there almost, I don't know what you call it. It's something like a mausoleum, only it's for funeral urns or for very small caskets. And there are some children who came to an untimely death that were buried there, and they also have the names of other children inscribed on black granite. But it's not the only initiative of its kind. In a suburb of Austin, Texas, something called the Mary Claire Project has started up, and it's an attempt to help console the families who grieve from miscarriage or stillbirth, and really just to recognize the humanity of their children. And joining me now is Chris Williston. He's the founder of this project. And Chris, thanks for being here, and thanks for shedding light on this and providing this beautiful service.
Oh, absolutely, Drew. It's a pleasure to be with you.
And let me extend my condolences, too. I know you lost your daughter, Mary Claire, just a little more than a year ago. And, as a father, I just cannot imagine what it's like to go through something like that. I know a lot of people have been asked to drink from that bitter cup. If you don't mind sharing, maybe you can share some of your story with everyone.
Sure, I'll be happy to. We did. We lost our daughter, Mary Claire, just over a year ago. My wife and I have been extremely blessed. We had 4 flawless pregnancies. And then I found out when we went in for our 16-week appointment with our daughter, Mary Claire, that she had been lost at about 13 weeks. We had no real other physical indication at all, just that horrible experience that far too many folks do have to endure, in which there's just not a heartbeat to be found. We were blessed at the time that we had a few friends who had already walked that road, and we had seen how they were able to celebrate the life of their children through a burial option that existed in Georgetown, Texas. They, just a service of a cemetery and a funeral home who had gotten together, who had provided not only the burial services but also the burial plot to families who experience this loss without charge to those families. And so with a few phone calls, of course, we were connected to that program. And the amazing thing that my wife and I experienced was, just with one simple post on social media, kind of letting friends and family and others know what we experienced. A few days later, after we'd gone through the medical process and advocated for ourselves to get the remains of our daughter, On a Saturday morning in late June of 2014, about 50 family and friends showed up to stand with us as we were able to inter our daughter, Mary Claire. And you want to talk about just an opposite experience that so many families go through, where it's such a private pain, something that happens in a medical facility or perhaps at home. They feel very much alone. And by and large, our culture doesn't know what to do with these families who go through this loss either. And here we were with just the diametrical opposite, in which people were able to just stand with us and help us celebrate. To us, it just started begging the question, why doesn't this happen more? Why is this such a rarity? And it just stuck in the back of our minds for the better part of a year, in which you go, it shouldn't be this way. This really should be more normal. And as a result of that, you can really only say somebody ought to do something about that so many times before you feel like maybe the Holy Spirit's calling us to be the ones to do something about that and make this more available and help others cultivate similar programs here in our backyard in the state of Texas.
So that's why you started the project?
Yes, sir.
All right. What kind of services do you offer for those who lost a child in this way? And what about those who are listening who've gone through it? I had a former producer who had like 4 miscarriages. It was a very difficult thing. How do we make people aware? Because I don't think most people, too, are aware of the fact that they can have a funeral service for their child. Yeah,
that is awareness is certainly one of the biggest hurdles that we have to get over culturally, because it is just something that you usually go with whatever the doctor tells you to do. This is available in most cases where the child's old enough that remains are salvageable. It really only takes open communication with medical providers. Say, this is what our wishes are. Now, once you're past a certain point in gestational development, then I think hospitals and medical facilities are more proactive in offering families this chance. But by and large, it really just is about having, as many things are, having a dialogue with your medical provider to say, this is what our wishes are, this is what we'd like to be done. And so they know kind of how to change their standard protocol, which is very often just to go through the process of disposing of remains, so they know how to honor your wishes. Now, we as the Mary Claire Project, our goal is pretty simple in the sense of meeting physical needs of families going through this loss. We actually, the program that we were able to enjoy the benefits of in Georgetown was made possible in part because a 70-year-old man who worked at the funeral home was making these small caskets for these children out of the goodness of his heart. The funeral home was buying the materials, but he was actually making each one by hand. It took him about an hour to make each one. When we began the Mary Claire Project, one of the things we said is, if we're going to make this more available, then we need to meet the needs of just providing people a suitable container to bury their child in. Something that doesn't cost them a couple $100s on the internet or something like that. So we actually have taken over the commissioning, the building, the providing of these caskets, and we can make them via a wood shop that we've partnered with for about $11 a piece. And they're simple, they're wood, but they're tasteful, and actually they're beautiful in their simplicity. The other thing we're seeking to do that we're actually looking to do is partner with additional funeral homes and cemeteries where, of course, we'll buy the areas of communal burial for the children, but actually to see if funeral homes will come alongside us to help provide their services at either a much reduced or without cost to families who are experiencing this loss.
Well, you're doing a great work, and I hope people will get behind you and support you and do a lot to maybe raise awareness in their own community as well. Is there a website I can drive people to so they can learn a little bit more?
Absolutely, sure. They can just visit www.maryclaire, that's CLAIRE, project.com. That's maryclaireproject.com. And Drew, one of the things I would encourage most of all is if you have experienced this loss, or have family members who do, just let others know. Fight that tendency to cut off from community, and let others know so that one of the biggest things is that we can get the word out to each other as people experience this loss. And you don't want, if we keep these things bottled up, if we keep them to ourselves, then we can't stand in community to each other to help those who are grieving. Maybe burial options aren't available in everyone's area yet, right. But there is a support community of those who have lived it before. And so just the openness, being very public and sharing our loss with others.
Yeah, that's so true. And I want to thank you for doing that, because it is really important. I think a lot of people, miscarriage can be a real strain on the relationship, even to the breaking point. I don't think people recognize that. And this really is a way, in some respects, that can help them heal their own relationship, isn't it?
Without a doubt. In so many ways, it provides the opportunity for grief. It provides an opportunity for people to help you acknowledge the humanity of your child. And, as part of a broader conversation, I know coming in to this conversation, you spoke about the atrocities that we're hearing out of Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. Drew, I've never been super politically active in the pro-life movement. But to me, this has always been a question of how do we change hearts, souls, and minds, even above and beyond how we change legislation. The legislation will follow when hearts, souls, and minds are converted and recognize the beauty of life. And this is a simple way that, until we are able culturally to celebrate even the tiniest life and have that be something that's normal and not something that's just really strange and different, then we're not going to make the advances that we want to see in the overall movement for life.
All right. Well said. Hey, Chris, thanks for your good work. Remember us in your prayers. We'll pray for you and your great effort. And again, just
Absolutely.
Great to talk with you.
You too. Thanks so much, Drew. God bless you.
God bless you. Chris Williston, folks. It's about 14 minutes before the top of the hour. I have to take a break, but check his group out. Mary Claire Project is the name of their organization. And if you've had a child or, you're going through the process, you may really want to consider doing something very similar, fetal burial, something not often talked about, but I think it's kind of important to shine a light on.